Hey, everybody, and welcome to another episode of We Ain't Dying for This, a Black woman's guide to liberation. My name is Crystle Johnson, and I am your host. I am also the founder and retreat host at Design Your Soft Life, where I help Black women who are saving the world to save themselves first. We are talking today with one of my favorite people, Christy Rutherford, and we're going to be talking about happiness as liberation. But before we get into that, we would love to hear from you in the chat and if you can tell us where it is that you're listening from, and also if you are hashtag team live or hashtag team replay. And we hope to get some conversation going in the chat today. And of course, if you feel that there is a Black woman that you know that would find value in this conversation around happiness as liberation, please go ahead and share that with a Black woman that you know, that you think might benefit from the conversation. And before we just jump into the chat and Christy's introduction, just want to be clear about why it is that I created this series. So I created this series because Black women are dying, quite literally. We are dying from all of the things and the weight that we are buried under. And I think we also often think about liberation as a black and white sort of thing. And it's really not black and white. It's different ways that you might be able to feel liberated. It might be through self-love, or maybe it's self-care, maybe it's boundaries. It could be a plethora of different ways in which you may feel liberated. So I really wanted to show the spectrum of Black women who are feeling liberated in their own ways, who are putting the expectations of the world behind them and just doing whatever the hell they want to do. So, like I said, I have Christy Rutherford here who's going to be talking to us today. And Christy, I'm going to hand it over to you for you to do your intro. Tell the people who you are, that you do. Oh, I can't hear you.
Oh, it's all right. I muted myself. So you want me to tell the people how great and how fine I am? Because
do it.
If my internet is acting up, let me know, because it's acting a whole donkey this week. Me, Christy Rutherford, unicorn rider, the baddest chick in the land, one of the finest in the land that I've seen recently. And so I assist women in leadership with getting raises, bonuses, and promotions through office politics and self-care. $15 million in salary raises since 2020. The best at what I do. Nobody does it better. I also have gone to culinary school, Harvard Business School, and I know how to drive a tractor.
Oh, a tractor.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I like this. So I just want to, I'm one of those women in that 15 million number. So
I got all your money.
Mm-hmm. In 2021, and I've told this story to quite a few folks. I can't remember whether I've told it on this show or not, but I actually had a leader back in 2020 who was telling me all the amazing things about myself. She was just like, "Oh my God, you're amazing. You did all these things. I don't even know how you did it." And I was like, well, I feel like I could have done all these different things differently. Like I could not accept the compliment. Mm-hmm. I felt like there was more that I needed to do, that I needed to be more perfect, that I needed to be more present, that I needed to just continue to do more. And she said to me, "You need to talk to Christy." And I had been following you on LinkedIn for a long time. And I was like, I can't talk to this lady. I was like, she about to snatch my edges. I was like, we cannot have a conversation with each other. But I trusted my leader. And then I booked some time with you. And on that first call, you called me out. Like I cried like a baby on that first call that we had, because you truly made me see the things that I wasn't seeing. And really that I needed to put a mirror up and think about, like, what is it that you're doing to contribute to how it is that you're feeling in this moment. And if I think back to that time, I thought I was happy. And I thought I was happy because I had all the things. Like I had the house, I had the wife, I had the job, I had the money, I had the things. So I'm like, oh, like this is what happiness is, right? And you made it really clear to me that I really wasn't happy. And something else that I've come to the realization of recently is that I was racing to burnout. And I'm like, why? Like now I look back and I'm like, why was I doing that? And I understand why I was doing it now. But at the time, I just thought, isn't everybody on fire? Isn't everybody doing all these different things? Don't I have to? And I really, truly didn't have to. So I just want to give you your flowers and say thank you to you, because you are part of my story and why it is that I'm here doing the things that I do right now.
Well, I love it. I mean, a part of the work, right, is to get women clear on who they are and then set you free. So I'm a leader of leaders, the queen of queens, the queen with queens. And so my goal is to set women free so you can go do the work that you're supposed to do. So I always tell women, if the only person that's going to be great if we work together is you, then I won't work with you. Now, if you want to go and touch 10,000 people or a million women or 1,000 women, come on over here. But if the only person that's going to be greater when we work together is you, we don't want you. So your mission is to set other people free, other women free, and you're just teaching what you are. And so if women had the courage to get out of their own way and step into the light of what their real purpose is and not be afraid of it, you have the capacity to impact more people. But we have to save ourselves first, which is what we're going to talk about today.
Yes, 1,000%. So speaking of saving yourself first, you have a story. You have a journey to happiness, or like to today for you, and you tell it often. But for those who haven't heard it, tell them the story, Christy. How'd you get here?
I think I can wrap it up in 90 seconds. So I was high achieving, very influential, the ish military officer. Let's be clear. This light is in my glasses. I'm trying to read the comments and trying to be fine at the same time. It ain't working. But what happened?
I didn't see the comments. Sorry, y'all. Welcome. Thank you, everybody who's in the chat.
They in the chat. They out here. They out here. But I was a military officer and I was a workaholic and I did all the right things. I checked all the right boxes. I laughed at all the jokes that I didn't think were funny. I worked 80 hours a week. And so I ended up becoming the 13th Black woman to make commander in the Coast Guard's 230-year history, where my demographic was 0.1%. So it was 50 Black female officers out of 47,000 people. And I had 3.5 years left to retire with the full pension, and I resigned and ran away like Tina Turner ran from Ike in that white suit. Now, here's the thing. I was going to work myself to death. I mentored 90 people outside of my office. I had 106 people working for me. So I always took the hard jobs and I never took care of myself. And so it's like what they call it, the boiling frog thing. I didn't have acute pain. It was a long, drawn out bleeding process over time that finally got to a 15-year period of culmination, 16 and a half years really, but 15 in of me not managing my stress, me not managing disrespect. And when I talk about being disrespected, Crystle, people feel sorry for me. I'm like, oh, let's be clear. I would cuss you out and threaten to stomp a hole in you. I was not a victim. Let's be clear. I was violent. Turn a table over. So I wasn't the one who would suppress the disrespect and let you just talk to me sideways. I jump up in your face and threaten to stomp a hole in you. So I wasn't that one, right? And so anyway, so by the time the last toxic boss came,
Mm.
he was the last match that just kind of like lit my forest and just made it explode. And so I resigned, ended up joining a network marketing company. And I thought that, everybody in network marketing is rich in 2 months. And so I physically collapsed as I left my career because I had over 20 documented medical conditions, about 27 medical conditions. I never took care of myself. So I always tell women, don't quit your job for entrepreneurship, because you're going to get out here and find out what it's really like in these streets. Mm-hmm. After 18 months of trying to build a business, then I mentally collapsed. Ended up in my brother's house, 3.5 years, nothing. I had nothing, because now I'm mentally incapacitated. I was incapable of now having a job because all my marbles were gone. So it took me 4 years to put myself back together mentally and 7 years to recover financially. So a part of the work is I'm who I needed 10 years ago before I left my job. So I'll snatch all around a little bit, snatch your teeth out, snatch your edges, right? To get high achieving women to wake up to how we're creating our demise, right? And we don't know it at the moment, because we're on fire, and we don't really know we're on fire until either somebody calls us out or we almost die. So I had to almost die. And then once I was in my brother's house, I had a long time. I ain't got no money, I ain't got nothing else to do. I had a long time to think about how I created that scenario. And what was true, Crystle, my boss was toxic. But what was also true was I was addicted to proving people wrong, and I was on fire before he came. So you have to own both truths of how I created the scenario. And once I took full responsibility for it, then I could actually get up and recover, as opposed to going down in flames, blaming other people for something that was 100% preventable.
Yeah. Understanding the role that you play is so liberating. And people just don't understand that, because I think when we think about being wrong or like not getting it right, most of us have never had room to be wrong or not get it right. And we use that against ourselves, and it's like the thing that's going to set you free. And as you were talking, I remember like going through your group coaching, and one of the things I took away, one of the many things, is around forgiveness. So can you talk a little bit about like what forgiveness has to do with this process of being on fire and like getting to a point where you can be happy, where you can look yourself in the mirror and say, I need to change, I need to do all these things because I'm to blame as well. It's a both and.
Well, I think is looking at it in the two truths, right? Like if we can own the truth and own that none of our childhoods were perfect. I legit, you gonna love this. I was sitting in a yoga studio in New York when I was a military officer. Child was crazy. And they was wondering how I got there. I just saw a random flyer. I was like, I'm gonna go to New York and do some yoga. And I remember it was this lady, when I say bawling, she was bawling that her parents gave her everything she ever wanted. And because they gave her everything she ever wanted, she couldn't keep a job no longer than 8 months. And yogis are super sensitive. So they over there consoling her and they rubbing her back, trying to cry with her. And I was like, I'm stone faced. Like she was, and I said, we all crazy. I had to get up and go to the bathroom or just leave because I couldn't, the rage that I had on the insanity of she got everything that she wanted. And she's blaming her parents for why she can't keep a job. And so when I think about our childhoods, a lot of high achieving women have challenging childhoods, which is why we eat pain for lunch, which is why we don't feel a lot of things, which is why we're running, which is why we have that tenacity to run through all the walls and barriers. So by the time we get to a job, we've been proving people wrong. We've been in pain for so long, we don't feel anything. So most things that people succumb, we just keep on moving. Now it catches up at a certain point of a compound interest, right around 35 to 36, we start feeling it. But we've been operating in that way for so long, we don't know how to change. Like I knew I was crazy. I didn't trust anybody could help me because everybody around me didn't have that same desire that I had. I didn't, that same desire to conquer the world. And I was out of alignment with my assignment. So it was a lot that was going on. So going back to the forgiveness part is if we can, I'll grab my book, James Allen. He talked about man, he says, circumstances don't make the man, circumstances reveal him to himself. And so if we can go back and look at some of the things that we have not resolved, which made us who we are, is like balancing the books. Having a childhood where a woman's mom, single mom, 5 kids, the dad left or the dad died and they didn't have any money, which made her a workaholic and a super educated nerd. Now she's making $500,000 a year. That woman does not realize that she actually has enough money. Like, she has no idea she makes $500,000, but got $600,000 stacked in the bank because she's living from the trauma of the wounded child, and her present reality hasn't caught up with who she used to be. So we can stop, which is why the work which you do is so important, which is what I do is so important, is because I'm trying to get y'all to stop and come into alignment with the woman that you are now and not the woman that you're running away from. So the forgiveness is, if we can stop long enough to see you actually made it, right? Which was your work. It's like, what? You were like, wait, you don't understand. The people that are calling you, everybody doesn't get that. Like, you didn't know you were already the ish at 35. And I'm like, what, this lady don't see it? I know why you didn't see it. You now know why you didn't see it. We're always running from something. So forgiveness, forgiving our parents because they did the best they could with what they knew at the time. Forgiving our teachers because proving them wrong made us, along the way, the people that we are today. The problem is we're addicted to proving people wrong 30 years later. Forgiving the scenarios and the experiences that weren't in alignment, and forgiving, I talk to a lot of people who think their parents are like these, we hold these high expectations that our parents are supposed to be these magical people, and they're not. And I'm not knocking my parents. I'm just saying, it's like, just in case my mama watching, it's like, we hold on to these things and this illusion of what our childhood should have been. And I'll say this and I'll let you ask me a question. But when I think about my mom was 19, 20, 21 with 3 kids. We're all 1 year apart. And she's married with a house and 2 cars. Like, we had everything that we needed. So for me to be like, my mom didn't give me that attention that, my love language, my love language is different than my brother's love language. Like, she didn't give it. She didn't have that. You 21 with 3 kids. She didn't have the capacity. 3 knuckleheads, 25. Does a 25-year-old with 3 kids, married, a house, a mortgage, and 2 cars, who's working 40 hours a week, have the capacity to give me what I thought I needed? Like, so for me to sit down long enough, I'm like, I can forgive her for not being that person that I thought I needed, because she gave me everything, because the mamas who was cuddling up with their kids, they was hungry. Right. And they had to heat their house with the stove. They mamas was at home all the time. They didn't have any money. So it's like reconciling the books and letting go of what you thought your life should have been and coming into the present moment of what your life is, which is amazing. Like, you made it, sis. You got the house and the car and the dog and the husband and the kids, or you're single, frolicking butt naked down the beach, and do whatever you want to do. Is like, own that reality now and just be happy.
Yeah, I resonate with so much of that. Like, first of all, in our coaching together, one of the things that you called out for me is that I felt like I didn't have enough. And also, I was also trying to prove somebody wrong. So many people know that I'm adopted and my siblings are much older than me. And I have a sibling that was just, she terrorized me from a little kid. And it's like something that I don't ever talk about. But because of those experiences is why I tried to continue proving people wrong. And then as I continue to learn more over the years, and I posted about this the other day, my mom literally worked herself to death. Worked herself to death. And I have realized in recent months that I felt like I was only worthy if I was achieving. I was only worthy of love. I was only worthy of care if I was achieving. Now, did my mother treat me that way? No, she didn't. Like, she cared for me. If something happened at school and I made all A's or whatever, like, she was there to be like, oh my God, great job. But for me as a kid, like, what I'm thinking in my mind is, oh, well, I need to get all A's. I need to achieve something. in order to get her attention. So that's something that I've actually learned lately. And then also this whole thing about we made it, like, yes. That's all I'm gonna say is yes. It's like you already have everything that you need, even more than you need. And for some reason, you just still believe that you don't have enough, that you need more for whatever reason. So let's switch gears a little bit. Because when it comes to happiness, I have said this, and I know probably a lot of people who are listening as well have said this. And if you have, let us know in the chat that I'll be happy when I get the right job. I'll be happy when the right partner comes into my life. I'll be happy when I make enough money, when I buy the dream house, when I. So talk to us a little bit about the myths around happiness, because that's definitely a myth if you think you're going to be happy when you get the thing.
Well, I read a book called Happier by Tal Ben-Shahar. I think it was 2009, 2010. He was a Harvard professor who wrote a book on happiness. And, because I was getting my coaching certification. So what year was that? 2004? I forgot. 2007, 2008, whatever year it was. Time is flying. And I didn't know if I was happy or not. Like, what does that really mean? Somebody's like, are you happy? What does that really mean? Like, I didn't have anything to quantify what happiness really means.
Yeah.
And when I read the book, I said, holy SHIT, I'm miserable. Right? Like, once I got like what happiness is. And so what he said was, most people are rat racers, and rat racers are people who live in a present detriment for a future benefit.
Yeah.
So our present reality is crap, but we're waiting for the future benefit. So if I work 80 hours a week to have job security, to get the retirement, the future benefit is I'm sacrificing my present moment for a future benefit. And so he said the happiness model is your present, you have a present benefit and a future benefit, right? So it's not like a detriment at any point. And some people will do like Bernie Madoff, which was a present benefit for a future detriment. So, it's like he's living large today, but he ain't going to jail. So the happiness model is what you're doing today. You're happy, but we're always waiting for the perfect job. And so you have this notion of the dream life. Look, man, we talk to more seasoned people. Dare I say older. Y'all stop lying. Now I'm yelling. What are you talking about? It's 15 years. You've been telling the same lie.
Yeah.
Stop. Right? Like, if it ain't happened now, you get this dream job, you finally gonna stop and you finally gonna quit and you finally gonna be happy. You've been selling that lie to yourself for the past 15, 20 years. So what I like to say is create the dream life and then go to work. There is no such thing as a dream job.
Correct.
People think, if I get a job, the job will give me flexibility and the money and the ability to travel and the ability to be able to live internationally and allow me to spend time with my spouse, or at least run game or whatever you want to do. And it's like, you've made your job the nucleus of your existence, as opposed to understanding that this is the life that I want.
Yeah.
Now let me go get the job that's going to give me what I've outlined, that's going to make me happy. So we think, if I find the job, then I can have this, as opposed to this is what I want. You can have this now where you are, and then you just go to work and you go home. So we're trading our entire existence for a lie and an illusion. Or if I get the right spouse, look, if you crazy, you attract what you are, okay? If you secretly crazy, hiding squirrels in your closet, you're going to attract somebody who's secretly crazy, hiding squirrels in their closet. Let's be clear. If you toxic, I talked to this lady last week, and she was like, everybody around me keeps saying I'm angry. I don't know what they're talking about. I said, how many people? She's like 10 people. I said, everybody can't be lying, sis. Like, you got to come clean with it. I want to tell 2 stories. Can I tell 2 stories? We got time. Like, look, you got, hey, man, everybody can't be lying. You ain't got 9 people hating on you, 9, 10 people saying that you angry. You got to look in the mirror and be like this. What they talking about? I don't know what they talking about. They ain't hating on me. No, 10 people, 10 different people from 10 different scenarios have told you that you angry. Stop lying to yourself. That's one. The second part is, so look, Chris, my makeup artist was doing my makeup a couple months ago, and she was telling me about her lady that she was working on who was devastated because her husband just left. She said, my husband walked out on me right after I got my dream job. She couldn't believe it. I was like, he ain't just left. She ain't, she wasn't paying attention. Ain't no dude don't just leave, right? So she kept saying, I just got my dream job. I don't understand. I finally got everything I wanted, and he's gonna leave. But this is the problem. Her marriage and her job were like this. They weren't two separate things. In her reality, like they were so intertwined and tight that she was more worried about the job than she was losing her marriage. And they were tight. Come to find out, she was 60. I was like, wait a minute, right? Imagine how long her husband's been listening to her talk about, when I finally get this, I'm going to be happy. He been listening to that ish for 35 years. He said, I'm done, and left. Because at 60, even today at 40 something, I ain't going to tell you how mature I am, but it's like, we're watching people check out of here. At 60, he's seen a lot of people die. He said, I'm going to go live the rest of my life, make the best of my life. Right? Like, because he's been listening to the same lie of, I finally got my dream job. We're going to be happy. She's going to be miserable. So it's like this, this delayed gratification, and you never satisfied. You just die in your job, and they roll you on out of there, and they keep going with the program like they did with the sister who died on stage last year, the college president. They're gonna roll you on up out of here and keep the program going, and we find out later you died, right? So it's y'all have to choose to be happy today, knowing that you made it. One, you woke up, praise the Lord. Two, if you have all your teeth, great. If you don't, buy some. And like, if you can walk and talk and you have, certain things, like you have to be able to say what's going to make me happy and then go do that, and stop settling for these lies that high functioning anxiety is normal, high functioning depression is normal, all this stuff that they're trying to normalize the misery of the world. And it's interesting to watch how everybody's claiming to have all these things, and they're at the bottom of the ocean, Crystal, they ain't trying to get up. I'd be like, y'all ain't Aquaman's wife. Why y'all at the bottom of the ocean trying to normalize drowning? Now y'all just trying to build a colony at the bottom of the ocean. Y'all ain't Mara. Get up.
Get up. That's so good. Get up. And I think anyone who's listening, who's probably been on your page and like read a lot of your posts, a lot of women will come to you and they say, because of the way that you position yourself, like you talk about both things, because we want our money, but we also don't need to be crazy too.
I want
but
all the
people, exactly. But the thing that people hear is the money. They hear the 15 million in raises since 2021.
2020. Yes, ma'am.
2020. 15 million in raises since 2020. So what they're hearing is, oh, she's gonna help me get a new job. Like she's gonna help me with the actions in terms of like the logistics of this is what I need to say in the conversation, or this is what I need to do to get a promotion. This is the work that I need to add to my load. And it's like, that's not what you do. That's not what you do. You help people to clear what's going on inside first, and then the rest will come.
Yeah, so nobody buys happiness. One, I was broke for 3 years, child, trying to sell everybody to be happy. They was like, we don't want that. And then, the two women that when I first, started to do the group coaching model, the first two women got happy. Oh, it's some fireworks. Who's shooting fireworks, child? My ADD kicking down this plane. It's like they got happy and then they got money. Then I was like, what's going on over here? So when I set a goal, because, to be a career coach, like I've been coaching people in their careers before social media was created. Yeah. I've been in the game for a long time, since 2001. So what's that, 23 years? So I've been doing career coaching for 23 years. I just did it for free in the military. And so a part of the work, what I've learned, and especially in these times of 2020 and 2021 to 2024, what sets my clients apart, all I have to do, Crystle, is show you who you are.
Yeah.
That's the work. Now we got to fight, wrestle alligators. Like we got to fight y'all and You know, we got to wrestle you down to the ground, sock you in the jaw. I don't do that no more. It's a little, we trying to do it the soft life, right? But it's like we have to get you to stop long enough to own how great you already are. That's the work. Because if I can get you to see who you are today, when you show up in an interview, you're being who you are, not who your childhood told you that you are, not the person that's in panic, not the person who thinks that everybody should like them, not the people pleaser, not the woman who doesn't think that she have any money, doesn't have any value. It's like, wait, now you can look at it and own all of the wonderful things that you've done, because all you own it is all the stuff that you've effed up. Like, you're not even looking at who you are. So we can get you, which is the work, right? Which is not that easy, to look at who you are and forgive and let this stuff go. That's the woman who shows up in interviews. And so my clients are highly valuable in the market because you have a woman, you have a senior woman, you have a senior sister who got peace. She knows who she is. She'll ask for her money. They be like, my God, that's, you want to set yourself apart in these times?
Yes.
Be healthy and hold and ask for your money and confident, and don't flicker and don't turn into and be all imposter syndrome, all this other kind of stuff. And they will fling the door open for you, shortcut the process, call you at 9 o'clock at night, be like, I'm sorry, oh my God, we just need to hire you right now. Like, this is what we do all the time, again and again and again. And in the past 2 weeks, 3 of my clients got $376,000 in raises. And actually, one of them, I didn't get to add it up because I'm busy. $274,000 in small business revenue in the past 9 months, right? Mm-hmm. And I ain't add that to my $15 million. So it's like, there is money out here. You can't keep believing the narrative that there is no money out here, or all sisters are suffering. No, just you. Or all sisters are going through it. No, just you, because you're doing nothing. Is if you have the goal to make money, I want people to know, Crystle, that you can get money and you can be happy.
Yes.
People, I talk to some women, they believe that it's easier to get a job than for them to be happy. And I, because when I'm talking on the phone, I'm like, man, you can be happy too. They be like, man, you're a fraud. I be like, wait. I just told you that you can be happy and you can have a healthy marriage. That's the lie. But you can triple your salary. You believe that, but you don't believe this other stuff. And they mad because they don't want to be happy. They just want more money. Man, get off my phone.
Yeah. And I mean, to anyone who knows me, I can attest to what Christy is saying. After I worked with Christy, I went into an interview. Actually, so I'm on the phone with all these women and we're all talking about, like, what's your number? And I'm like all intimidated because, like, it's people on the phone like, oh, 600. I'm like, what? Do people actually make that kind of, like, is that even possible? So I give my number and I actually go talk to someone that is a very dear friend to me. We're still friends today. And I was telling her I was interviewing for this job and I was like, yeah, this is what I'm going to ask for. And she said, good luck with that. And this is one of my friends who has been in HR forever. So for me, she's seen it all. I am so glad that I did not listen or allow that to knock me off of the high from that conversation that I had with all of those women in our coaching session, because I went into the conversation, asked for the number, didn't shut up, didn't say nothing else, just said what my number was. This is what I'm expecting. And they figured it out. And I got more than what I asked for. And it was because I walked in knowing who I was, understanding the value that I bring to the table, understanding that I'm the prize. I'm Fairy Queen C. That's what Christy calls me. And I'm like, I don't need to explain to you why it is that I need this number. Just this is what I need. You figure it out. And they did. And I think
they didn't require you. But they didn't require you to justify it. They wanted you to ask.
Yes. And ask, I did.
And they said, okay. You was like,
exactly. I was like, what? Because this person that I has been in HR forever, I was like, they said good luck with that. Like, I can't believe this actually happened. So at this point, I'm like, I'm about to walk in and ask for whatever. And you gave me another number that I'm nervous about, but I'm gonna ask.
Don't be nervous because one of my clients is gonna get that this year. But here's the thing. You asked with confidence.
Yes.
And you were sitting in the room. We hadn't finished the work yet, but I had beat you in the head enough.
Yeah, because I was about to do my job. I was about to do all types of things because I was so pissed off. I was so upset. I was so angry. And I just wanted
hotness.
I'm like, it's these people. It's not me. But go ahead. I'm going to let you finish.
Well, no, you were mad. So I had beat you in the head enough to know that you knew that you could not ask for anything less and come back on our call and report out. So I always say it's a blessing and a burden, but mostly a blessing to work with me because y'all got to come back and be like, I asked for this. And I'll be like this, you asked for what? So you'd be like, just give me this. And they'd be like, okay. And you'd be like, wait, what the world? Right? So it's almost, I talked to 3 women today. I was doing this thing with my community. 2 weeks ago, I told these 3 chicks to double their salary. Just 2 weeks ago. They came back on the call today. They was like, all 3 of them maxed to double their salary. 2 of them got it. One of them's job was like, well, we got to get back to you. We see that in you. But we also offer you can explore other opportunities if you want to, because they agreed with the valuation that they had of themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And so they knew that job knew that she was underselling herself. And when she acknowledged, I want double, they was like, all right, well, we'll look at some opportunities, but we also invite you to, they didn't fire her, but they were like, you're right. They always knew, Crystal, just like all the women online, they know y'all are settling for less. You don't know because you're talking to raggedy people. You're talking to your mentors who shouldn't be. Like, you're talking to these people that are telling you, I think that every woman can double their salary right now. Mm-hmm. Right? Like, that's my belief. We've doubled 25 women's salaries in 2020, since 2020. We've tripled, I think we're at 13, and 7 sisters have gotten 7-figure packages since 2020, when the job market went to whatever. And so what the challenge now is they started talking all this jam in 2020 about how hard the market was and how, it's tumultuous. Then they said it in 2021, 2022, 2023. Like, the story has not changed. Right? Like, it's still, like tech has been like that for the past 4 years. And I don't feel sorry for people who get laid off. I don't. Like, what have y'all been doing? Sticking your head in the dirt? Like, y'all better prepare. You can't tell me that you're devastated that you got laid off when you have done nothing to prepare for it. Mm. Like, what are y'all doing? And a tech company last year in July laid off 10,000 people, and my client in August, the next month, got $575,000 from them. So y'all would be like, oh, they just laid off 10,000 people. They don't have no jobs. I'm like, they got at least 5,000 open, and they have recaptured $80 billion in salaries in the market. Mm-hmm. So there is room for everything, but y'all are getting what y'all believe. And there's a lot of narratives out there that are selling you on how to sell yourself short, which y'all create these toxic work environments, how to play small or how to play safe or be angry, right? That narrative ain't working because nobody want to hire an angry woman. And it's like, once you start to take control of your own narrative and take control of your own fate and be like, I can do it. Crystal beating the brakes off the game. I want to let y'all know, right? But it's like, she walked in there and she asked and they said, okay. What the world? Okay.
Had to contain myself.
And she didn't ask for pennies either. Like, she wanted all her money, right? And so there is room for all of it, but women are getting what they believe. The problem, Crystal, that I've seen over the past 4 years, and I've been in the game 20 years, is that the belief systems of what women believe is so limited right now, and everybody's afraid. And I talk to women who make $220,000 who tell me they don't have no money. I'm like, what are you talking about? You make $220,000 and you married and your husband got money. You don't have no money to invest in yourself. Oh, we buying a house. I say, well, you're gonna be crazy in that house. I don't care, right? Like, go on out there and be crazy. We might still be here. The price is gonna change though. But it's like the unwillingness to do anything about their misery is concerning to me because sisters are dropping dead like dominoes in jobs, and women are pretending that can't happen to them. I don't understand it. I almost died myself, so I could beat everybody in the head and call people crazy because I used to be crazy. But it's like, y'all shouldn't be living this same scenario 15 years later after I messed it up.
100%. So let's dive into that a little bit more. You said a little while ago, you said that you wanted, when you started, you wanted to sell people happiness. And they was like, we don't want it. And then 2 women signed up, and when they got happy, they got their money.
Yep.
So can you talk a little bit about like what keeps us from like buying into this idea of we can be happy and we can have the life that we want and we have everything else that we want too?
Well, I think it's what you said earlier. When I get the next thing, I'm going to be happy. So we all do it. Oh, when I get the master's degree, I'm going to be happy. And once we get it for high achieving women, next, you're like, once I go to culinary school, because my whole lifelong dream was to be like Martha Stewart and go to culinary school. So I went to culinary school when I was in Houston. Next. Okay. So then if I go, okay, I heard this lady talk about coaching at Georgetown. I didn't know what coaching was. I was like this. That's what I do. That's what they call it. I can get paid for what I'm doing for free. Oh, I'm going to go to Georgetown too. If I go to Georgetown, I'm going to be happy. Next. So it's like we're always waiting for the next thing. And so, and then now at, 35, 36, 37, we're so miserable because we've been miserable for 30 years. A lot of people would be like, my job is making me miserable. No, you're miserable and you go to work.
Yeah.
Your job ain't making you miserable. You've been miserable for the past 5-10 years. Like, you've been saying the same thing, just like I talked about the 60-year-old. She's been saying the same thing, yo. I mean, for like, her husband, like, I'm done. Right? 30 years of this. She never gonna be happy. Like, we never gonna have peace in the house because the new job is just gonna be the same story and complaining about the same raggedy people again and again and again. It's never gonna change.
Yeah.
And so, now it's like we're in times of normalized chaos and misery. Yes. I don't watch news. I don't know what's going on in the world.
Here, normalized chaos and misery. Because I'm like, it's something under there. Like, what is it? And that's exactly what it is.
Well, you know, in 2020, while y'all was in the house, I was on the beach, right? Because I served my time in being in my brother's house and being isolated. I served that time already. The Lord lifted me out of those circumstances and sent me to the Bahamas. But it's like, I said in 2020, I'm like, okay, because I can see it. I'm a person of trends. I was like, you only got very few women who are saying yes to start to work on their crazy, because when y'all was locked in the house, that you can't run from being crazy no more. Because high achieving women, we gonna run and we gonna work and we never gonna look back. We ain't got time to slow down because we're gonna volunteer for this project. We're gonna bring in the chicken nuggets. We're gonna we're gonna organize the Black History Month thing, and we're gonna volunteer for this project, and we're gonna do the health thing. We're gonna do all these kind of things. Like, we never gonna slow down because we kind of know we crazy, but we don't have time enough to address the crazy because we busy.
Yes.
Okay, doing things that don't matter in our jobs. And so COVID locked y'all in the house with y'all decisions and choices. So now you're acknowledging that you're crazy. 98% of women stuck their head in the dirt wishing for better times. 2% of the women said, okay. Like, I talked to thousands of women. And so, but at least the 98% that stuck their head in the dirt was waiting for a better time. Thinking that, if I could just get out of 2020 or whenever lockdown doesn't happen again, I'm going to be happy. So there's at least, Crystal, an anticipation of a better time.
Yeah.
In 2021, it was like still like this kind of, I'm not sure if it's going to be a better time, but if we can just get out of this because it's kind of crazy, then, it's going to happen. And again, 2% say, yes, I'm going to change, which you were in that great. Hallelujah. Congratulations. And there's another set of women who was just like, I ain't doing nothing. I'm buying a house, or whatever lie they told themselves to not get started to change themselves. Now in 2024 was crazy. And I talked to my coaches about it the other day. There is no anticipation of being of being happy, or this illusion of, if I just get through this, I'll have this. There is just DAM misery, right? Like, it ain't no more, Crystal. If I get the dream job, I'll be happy, is if I get this job, I can be safe.
Yes.
Like Abraham said, that might be the best thing I've said all week. Like you don't even want joy anymore. They just want safety and security, which is a lie. Because you knowing who you are, like you know who you are, you can clearly articulate who you are. You have a brand. You're your own best job security. Your awareness of how great you are is what your job security is. Yeah. No matter whatever the market does, the market can do what it's going to do. And you can pick up your bed and walk, and because you know who you are, you can clearly articulate it. You got peace, and you can tell people who you are. You want all your coins, and it's like that's your best job security. But it's like women aren't expecting to be happy anymore. They're just racing for safe, and the safety is illusion because we never feel safe because we've been running for 40 years. It's insane to watch.
Yeah. So with that being said, what advice would you give to women who realize that they aren't happy, or maybe the ones who don't realize that they aren't happy? What advice would you give them to like shift to course correct?
They know they ain't happy. They know. One, tell the truth. Napoleon Hill said, if I had the courage to look in the mirror and see myself as I truly am, then I will find out what is wrong with me and fix it, as opposed to building alibis to cover my misfortunes. And so it's like, if I had the courage to look in the mirror and tell the truth and see myself as I really am, not who I'm pretending to be, not in my flowing dress in Dubai. Stop, right? Like, not the lie, because social media has created this illusion that everybody's happy, but everybody's lying. So be willing to tell the truth and then do something. Mm-hmm. You can be happy. Like, people think that, you know, people spend more time trying to get white men to understand why they're miserable than trying to understand why they're miserable and getting past it. They don't care. I got a lot of white male friends. They got their own problems. Does that make sense? They're not interested. You stop. They good. But it's like, look in the mirror and tell the truth and understand that you can be happy. You can have joy. And when did it become normal, Crystal? Like, I think about, if my nephew, who's 18 months, he looks just like me, by the way, I got to show you a picture. But if he was miserable for 5 hours, we would be concerned about the kid. Now, if he's miserable for 3 days, they'll take him to the doctor. Be like, something wrong with this kid. Now, if he's miserable and pouty for 3 weeks, they'd be like, something's wrong with my baby. My baby hasn't happy. He's not happy. He has a smile. Same thing with my 6-year-old niece. Like, if kids aren't happy, we try to cheer them up because we know something is wrong. Now, as an adult, it's like, we don't even think that we can have that childlike happiness, which is what the Bible talks about when you get into the kingdom of heaven, or with the mind of a child. So it's like, we're not even looking to be happy. We're just looking to be safe. And safety is suffocating your dreams. Safety is suffocating your soul. Safety is suffocating the reason why you came here, to be greater, and the dreams that God put in you. You can't do that playing safe. Mm-hmm. So y'all just got to be willing to get uncomfortable and do something, for God's sakes. That's what I want. Now, 3 things they can do. 1, meditate 5 minutes 3 times a week. You gotta do meditation like riding a bike. It takes time to like get used to it. One of my clients was like, "Oh, I don't meditate." You know, she got drugged through the mud. But I don't meditate because my mind races when I meditate. No, you're just becoming aware of that your mind is racing. Your mind has always been racing. You have to stick with it long enough for it to be able to calm down a little bit. Yeah. The second thing is
perfect. Like, I think that's another thing too. Like, you have knowledge that, okay, my mind is racing, but don't beat yourself up about it.
Yeah, it takes time, like 2-3 weeks. The second thing is work out 3 times a week for 30 minutes. And then the third thing is sleep 3 times a week for 8 hours. I told this group of women this in December. You would have thought I said sacrifice a baby goat and go throw that blood on somebody. They wanted to fight me. They were all professional, brilliant women. They was like, oh my God. Like, some of y'all can save your marriage if you can just get some sleep, right? Some of y'all can keep your kids out of therapy talking about their mama if y'all could just get some sleep, right? So what I didn't do, I did not take care of myself. Self-care is a learned skill. Drawing boundaries and creating boundaries and taking breaks, as you know, is a learned skill. We're not taught this stuff.
No.
Self-care is a learned skill. Self-care is not a massage or getting your nails done. Self-care is you slowing down your mind long enough to actually create peace here first, because your external circumstances are a reflection of the hell that's going on the inside. That's my only cuss word I'm gonna do for this hour.
Not ending up with a smile. That is hilarious. But you are so right. I mean, you're speaking to me too, because the thing is, it's like we can learn all these things about ourselves and we can do really well, but it doesn't mean we're always going to be perfect. There's going to be times where like we let the world come back in and then we got to get ourselves together. So like the working out piece, I'm not doing that. And I definitely need to work out for 30, what'd you say? 3 times
30
a week?
minutes. 30 minutes, 3 times a week.
Yes. I'm going to commit to that.
But the thing about it is this, right? One, nobody's perfect. Ain't nobody walking around here trying to be like Mother Teresa. And if people are, oh my God, Chrissy, you're so this, I'll be like, don't try to put me on a pedestal, right? Don't do that. Like, we're all a work in progress. And so I know, because money loves happy people. In order for me to allow in $8 billion, let's be clear, because I need that to be able to do the work and the things that I want to do in the world. I got to have $8 billion. So I have to be able to condition my body and my mind and my energy and my character to be able to receive it and keep it and become a center of distribution, that what Price Pritchard talks about. And so I have to work out and I have to meditate. And I know when I don't is when I become very impatient. Look, let's be clear. I'm a powerful woman. I can either use it to light up a continent or burn a whole village down. However you want to do it, right? So if we're born on high flame, we're high flame people. This is what powerful women. We have to do stuff to be able to lower the flame so people don't get burned. So when I work out and I meditate, I got to keep the flame on low so ain't nobody gonna get burned. Because when it comes on high, I get in trouble and I create a karmic debt that's gonna come back to me, right? So my work is to try to keep me on a low flame so I can exist in the world. And I'm not saying play small or whatever, but I'm a little crazy. I apologize for that. So I got to do stuff to be able to manage my emotions and to be able to allow patience for the BS that the world is going to offer.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, is that women are going crazy now because they think that people have become more toxic. I'm not sure people are crazy in America, by the way, but I'm not sure if people have become more toxic. That could be the case, but it's also the case that our capacity to be able to manage the toxicity is what has, like, we got like this much capacity. We used to be able to manage the BS, right? You brush it off your shoulder, be like, you say whatever you want to. Now your capacity to manage it, because we're more stressed out, because we're not working out, because we're not making time for ourselves, because we're not doing real self-care, our capacity to manage the BS is what's diminished. So that's the ticking time bomb that's going on with a lot of women.
Totally. That was me in 2021. Literally. I was like, get me out of here. I can't.
I remember I was dragging you. It was great.
You was like, don't you quit your good job? I remember when you said that. I'm like, no, I don't want to be here anymore. I'm willing to go to this other place and make less money. Like, we had this whole conversation.
Oh, you took a pay cut. This lady crazy.
Like, I had accepted the job and I was take a pay cut. And I'm like, you were like, have you lost your mind? I was like, well, I just feel like I'm going to have more peace. Like, this place is going to be
$100,000 pay cut, by the way. But what? Because this is, I'm not the interviewer, but I got a question, because this is what I'm talking to a lot of women who are taking these pay cuts. And I'm like, it's not the job. Was it the job or was it you?
It was me. It was definitely, it was like you said, my capacity to deal with all the stuff that was happening around me was like not there anymore. Like, I used to have a full cup to be able to deal with all the things and just be able to brush it off and walk away and say whatever and just keep moving. But at some point I had it. And I think that as someone who works in the DEI space, 2020 was a wild year for DEI. Like everybody wanted a piece. There was so much that we needed to do. Like everybody was bought in. And it's like, okay, I need to do more and more and more and more and more. And I burnt myself out and I just didn't have it anymore. I didn't have anything to give. And I was just like, get me out of here because I thought it was them, but it was actually me.
But it's so many women now who want to quit their jobs and like I'm done and this them. And I'm like, no, like you don't have to quit your job because you're gonna, you take $100,000 pay cut. You was all excited. I said, oh my God, right? But if there's a way to leave a job and is not in panic and in because I did it. Does that make sense? Like, and they be like, oh, I'm leaving. Celebrate this woman because she started her consultancy company. I'd be like, LLC equals $0. Y'all better not jump out here in these entrepreneurship streets. I'm like on fire. It's the worst thing. That's what took me out starting that business. And so, the message is you don't have to leave your job. You can show up. You just need to show up differently in your job because you ain't need to do all them things. Right? Like all the stuff that you was doing and all the battles that you were fighting, you didn't have to do all that. You were doing it because you were conditioned and bringing all the stuff from the past. And so if you get to a point where you show up differently in the job, now it's like, okay, either you're going to 70% of my clients don't leave their jobs. They're going to get a new job at a different level within the organization, or they're going to get more money, or then they leave their job. But you're attractive in 2024. Especially now, right? It's always been attractive for a woman to know who she is and be able to clearly articulate who she is and negotiate her value and her worth. But it's so much more important now because that's so uncommon. You want to set yourself apart in these streets of 2024. Be calm, have peace, be able to articulate, what you want and who you are. And then have the capacity to negotiate. And I saw a post that was like, y'all need to stop asking Black women to negotiate, just pay us our value. I was like, get the out of here. What are you talking about? No, that's not true. We have to be able to clearly articulate who we are and negotiate it. But I think that everybody who's listening right now should ask for at least 30% of where they are right now. Y'all already being overworked and underpaid. And you're basing, your current valuation based off of your current pay. But if you've been in that job for 5 to 10 years, you've appreciated. So your new number should be based off the appreciated value and not based on where you are. Even Hermes bags appreciate. I mean, either you a TJ Maxx bag or your Hermes bag. I'm just saying.
We got you. We heard, understood. So if there is someone who is listening, whether you are team live or team replay, Christy, tell them how they can work with you, because I feel like you dropped some gems. I am living proof of the work that you do. You changed and transformed my whole life. So tell them how they can find you and how they can work with you.
Well, you can connect me on LinkedIn. Great. I love LinkedIn. Or Instagram, because I actually do 2 videos a day on LinkedIn or on Instagram. I can only do 1 on LinkedIn. Yeah, I do 2 a day on Instagram. I come for everybody. It's great. So I have 3 posts a day on Instagram. They're completely different because LinkedIn has a certain tailored approach. So follow me on Instagram, Christy.Rutherford. And then if you want to get my insight, I suggest, highly encourage and suggest that you watch my insight, Change Now with Christy.com. It's about a 15-minute video that talks about what we do and how we do it. And again, that's Change Now with Christy, CHRISTY.com. Or you can text Change Now to 66866 and you can get that insight. But I want people, Crystle, like I talk to a lot of women who I am best when you followed me and you can do research on me for days, right? Don't come over here cold turkey and want me to sell you. I ain't got time. Been in the game too long. We got too many results. So I urge anybody who's listening, when you're considering a coach, do research on that person that you're looking. And then I want you to verify the results that they say they got. Because there's a lot of women who are falling for the okie doke out here with these coaches or these people who say, I can spin your straw into gold like Rumpelstiltskin over here. They lying. Then you come to me talking about Coach Hurt. So I want you to I got like 86. I'm gonna harass my clients tomorrow though. I got like 86 endorsements on LinkedIn from my clients. Like the most that I think I've seen. And I ain't near everybody. I'm gonna harass. I got like 150 out here. But I, get my information on changenowwithchrysty.com. But whether or not you consider working with us or what I want y'all to understand is you have the capacity to double your salary this year.
Mm.
You should desire to be happy because life is short and unpredictable, baby. Like, it's like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're gonna get. 3, the illusion of retiring is a lie. Who say you're gonna make it to retirement? Right? Who said that tomorrow is guaranteed? We don't know what's gonna happen. The only thing we have is this moment. And then the 4th thing is you can build an amazing future with what you have today. And a lot of people are trying to build their future based off of the broken past that they have and not acknowledging where they are in this moment. So your tomorrow is built with what you created and the building blocks today. It doesn't matter what you've gone through. Everybody's gone through something. It doesn't matter where you came from, what your mom and them did, what your daddy them did, what your teacher them did, what the last raggedy boss that you had, what your last job did. A lot of that victim mentality is like you're not taking present accountability for who you are. So you can start today to build tomorrow. And if you mess it up, you got today to like create tomorrow until you work yourself out of where you are to give yourself permission to live that greater life that's waiting for you and it's available.
Yeah, 100%. And if you reach out to Christy, be ready to surrender. You're not going to be in control no more. So just keep that in mind because she's not going to fight you for you to do the work. You have to be ready and willing to do the work. You have to be ready and willing to look yourself in the mirror and see yourself for who you are.
Well, I think surrender is, we are control freaks, right? And we bulldoze our way through everything, but we're the place where superwomen come to rest. Superwomen don't have a refuge, right? Just like your retreat that you're having in Cartagena. Like we're everybody's superheroes at work, in our communities, in our families. Like we're exhausted and we're tired. So, but we don't trust Crystle that we can put our capes down because nobody got us. I could have said that better in English, but you understand. Like I gotta speak. Like nobody has our back. We have everybody else's back. Nobody has our back, and we don't trust anybody.
Yeah.
So you have to be able to join and take advice and insight from experts who are this. Mm-hmm. I ain't teaching nothing other than what I am. I can reproduce the fruit of what I am. You're looking at it in you. You can reproduce somebody who has peace and joy and is walking in her purpose and is, making her money, right? Like we're teaching what we are. We're not teaching book knowledge. We already got the books. Y'all got the PhDs and all the degrees. Y'all are learning everything outside of yourself, but you're not learning how to master yourself and your emotions and do the work. So surrender is really being about trusting that somebody has your back. And we didn't really have that. That's what I want to create. And that's what I have created in the past 6-7 years.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Christy, for being here today. Thank you for being such an important part of my life. Right back at you. In my transformation. I know that I am who I am today because of you and many others who have poured into me. So I really appreciate your time today. Anyone who is still listening, next week we're going to be talking to Kimberly Pack, and we're going to be talking about redeeming yourself as liberation. So we will see you all next week. Thank you so much for joining us for this conversation about happiness as liberation. See you later.
Bye, y'all.